And in the pack for Cambridge, Matt Bray is the captain, George Sykes, James Sherman, Freddie Humphreys, Paddy Hunt and Ignacio Quintana. And on the bench for the Light Blues, Joe Pitt-Rashid, Luke Tyson, Mark Sweeney, George Lang. And the coach is John Evans. It's John's 10th varsity match and he's hoping to turn the tables on Oxford here tonight. So are their student supporters who've made the journey to the Stoop to cheer their side on. And the Oxford contingent will be confident of continuing their dominance. They've won the last two games and Cambridge hoping to put that right. Team O'Connor, now is that Team Terence O'Connor or perhaps Team Paul O'Connor? And there is the Cambridge coach John Evans, and hoping that this time his side can get it right. They've prepared well as the two sides take the field, and already a bit of fancy footwork and a great deal of nerves and anxiety ahead of this game. The teams have been here in good time, probably too much time, Barry, and it's been noticeable. There's been a fair bit of fretting.
Yeah, if you look at both teams there's some big units. We were watching the Cambridge team get off the coach, and some big fellas, and you can tell that the university students on that run out then, nearly all of them going the right way. Unusual for rugby players, but a lot at stake here, a lot of pride in this fixture, and you'll see a lot of determination from both sides.
The referee is James Child, his first game in charge, I think, in a varsity match, and preparing to get the game underway. The two sides just going through their pre-match ritual, both in a huddle, both eyeballing each other at the moment. There's Matt Bray, just laying down the law to his Cambridge side. Bray, very good rugby league pedigree. He's former Eccles and Salford junior, went to Salford University and played for Ulverston Amateur Rugby League Club as well, Matt Bray, so he knows the game well. This is his third varsity match, and he's due a win. 2 defeats, so Cambridge certainly hoping to turn the tables. 38-10 losers last year, lost 20 points to 14 the year before to this Oxford side. And it's going to be Oxford who will get us underway with Hugh McCormick. And Oxford won the toss and chose to kick. And both these sides in good form going into this game, both on the back of big wins. So there's no shortage of confidence, and there'll be no shortage of passion either as the 29th varsity match gets us underway, sponsored by P Cubed, and hats off to the sponsor. It's the 11th year of their involvement in this particular match, which is a great dedication from them. There is Dan Garbett, Oxford's coach. A little breath of anxiety from him as his side takes on John Evans' Cambridge side, and Cambridge in possession.
And already you can see that the Oxford players flying out the line and trying to put the shots on the Cambridge players. Last year it was very similar. The first 20 minutes it was blood, it was guts. Cambridge really taking it to Oxford, but Oxford had that class. But it's going to be interesting to see, Bill, how they get on with the loss of Simon Dewsbury, the loose forward.
Yes, Dewsbury has moved on. But there is a remarkable return of number of players returning for this game, so they know what it's all about. Offside against Cambridge, a bit too keen there from Will Brewster. He's quick, but he's not that quick.
And this was a poor part of the game last year for Cambridge, the kicking game. Again, they've just made 20 yards, but given away the penalty, inviting Oxford now into their half, and they'll be straight in attacking mode. They need to improve on the kicking game, do Cambridge.
Here we are, guys. On his foot, on his foot.
So Oxford with the penalty up to the 40-metre line. Two balls on the field at the moment.
Okay, on his foot.
Whitehouse just removes them. Josh Venner with the tap, and here's Phil Satterthwaite, another one of the newcomers to the varsity match, but he's met by that Cambridge defence. And here goes Ballou, the big guy for Oxford, Anthony Bradley, known as Baloo to his teammates. Oh, that's a wild pass. It went behind Venner, and a bit of a tangle from the Oxford side. Venner having to retrieve it, and he's closed down very quickly by Freddie Humphreys. Wild pass.
Two new halfbacks in place for this Oxford side, and I think they need to get some cohesion, get the team going forward. But if they can play open rugby like that.
Well, here's the danger man, Batstone. He was the danger man last year, but a foot in touch. This time, Cambridge know all about him. He got 2 tries inside the first 20 minutes, did Batstone. But they weren't going to allow him that sort of luxury this time.
Very fast, pacey player, chooses the outside, tries the big, don't argue, but gets shoved into touch.
Stetchman across very quickly from full-back for Cambridge to make the tackle on Batstone. It's his 3rd varsity match, so that's a relief for Cambridge.
Good shot.
But Rupert Wingate-Saul felt that.
Hugh McCormack, as Tez has already said, has got massive shoes to fill. Simon Dewsbury was a real talisman for this Oxford side. If he can come up with shots like that, I'm sure he'll inspire his teammates.
There is Matt Bray, taking the ball up for his side. Humphreys again, seen plenty of action early on, Freddie Humphreys, this lanky second rower in his 2nd varsity match. Former Bradford Grammar School player, Freddie Humphreys.
They need to get away from Oxford's tight 3 because they're really tackling in numbers and they're just really hitting up in ones. They need to spread the ball out wide. There's real big gaps because Oxford are so condensed up the middle of the pitch.
That's the boot from James Hunt at 6 for this Cambridge side. Not the best kick. He has got a very good kicking game, Hunt, but that wasn't one of his better ones. Humphreys tangling with Batstone after the ball had been played then. There's no shortage of spice here.
That's the 2nd bit of pushing and shoving that Batstone's been involved in. Plenty of passion in this game though. Some good shots. Won't be too long before we see a ball dislodged from a big tackle.
Lock with a short ball to Paddy Boyle. A big prop forward plays the ball. Now here's Pete Forster. Distinctive orange boots from Forster. Well, that was lucky. It didn't go into touch, says the touch judge. Looked as though it was guaranteed to. Batstone gets another big hit from James Shearman. It's good defence from Cambridge.
Outside, give 10.
And McCormick with the boots. And that wrong foot's Max Stetchman, and Stetchman came for it, then had to retreat for it. Oh, that was high.
Stood very deep when he was kicking that ball. Here's the nice little flick inside, just on the line. Perhaps his foot left the line as he caught the ball, but excellent skill, a good kick chase, and trying to make some dents in them in defence.
The two sides just eyeing each other up at the moment. Cambridge in possession then. Paddy Hunt plays the ball. Shearman now. But a reception committee there for Shearman. Oh, and problems for Oxford's Josh Venner. Looks as though that can't be cramp already. Certainly off the field having treatment.
Could be a thigh strain that. He seems to be stretching the front of his leg. Perhaps a thigh strain picked up in these early 5 minutes or so. Oxford will have to rearrange now. He's the half-back. In and around that middle, he'll be marshalling, directing his team.
Batstone plays the ball. Here's Forster going across the field, but he is collared by Paddy Hunt. Good work from the second rower. He was on him in a flash, assisted by Ignacio Quintana. This Spanish loose. Oh, big hit that was. And that was Shearman.
The Shermanator.
The Shermanator. That one will sting. The Sherman tank.
What about this? Spots him.
James Shearman, and then there's a little compliment afterwards.
And gives it him as well.
That's the sort of thing to lift your side. Here's Paddy Hunt. So Cambridge lifted by that, in possession. The first real threat on either line this is. Still some distance out. There is Shearman. Playing in his 4th varsity match, Shearman. On the attack now with Hunt. Hunt the ball to Carl Schroeder. Schroeder plays the ball. George Sykes. Bray the captain. That's the 5th tackle.
Go.
What will they come up with here? Hunt, maybe put a little grubber kick in, fires it in, it ricochets, but it's going to ricochet over the dead ball line, and that'll be a tap on the 20.
But what inventive play, but what about the shot? A little kick here from Hunt. This is where they were really poor, and talking to John Evans last year, he thought that the kicking game really let him down. The short kicking game, they always seem to go for the sticks, but this is the big test now. Can Oxford get down the other end of the pitch? Because Cambridge have done all the hard work now to keep this Oxford side up in their territory.
James Sherman with the hit, and in fact Sherman has gone into this game with a real problem, in fact, because there's his father is seriously ill at the moment, and it was touch and go whether James Sherman would actually play. His father wanted James to play tonight, even though he is, as I say, very seriously ill, and James is dedicating this game to his father and desperately hoping that he's going to win this one for him, and he certainly got off to a good start. But Oxford looking to come back. Here's Ballou, Anthony Bradley. They've got some big figures in this Oxford side.
Outside. Give 10. Give 10.
There's the kick. It's over the heads of Will Brewster, and Brewster able to gather it and then bring it back.
Again, the kicker standing very deep. If you're going to be inside and kick chase, you need to be level with the kicker. When Oxford are kicking the ball, they're almost 50 metres back.
This time Oxford putting the hit in. It was Paddy Boyle, not quite so effective. Here is Sherman once again. Up to the 40-metre line. Well, there is Josh Venner. His involvement in the Varsity match tonight, very short-lived. Knee problem by the look of things. Certainly putting the shoulder in these two sides. Paddy Hunt up to the halfway line for the light blues. That kick is charged down. Play on, says the referee. James Hunt in receipt of it. Hunt finds Carl Schroeder. Schroeder is tackled. It's back to 6, says James Child, the referee. Here goes Ali Glass from the wing. Right up the middle of the field. George Sykes. Paddy Hunt straight up the middle again.
He's had a big start, hasn't he? He needs someone pushing up a little halfback on his shoulder.
Instead they go out wide. The ball with Aaron Sonnenfeld, one of the new recruits to this Cambridge side. Sonnenfeld tackled just short. They'll try and burrow over, will they? Just short again, says the referee. That ball is intercepted, and Oxford could break away here. Cambridge back to cover, just in the nick of time.
Danny O'Driscoll got that ball and pinned his ears back after about 25-30 yards. Realised he didn't have the pace, looked for support.
O'Connor has got through one, he's found Batstone now, and Batstone will take his man out on the outside. He'll beat his man on the outside. He goes round Stetchman and gets the try. Doesn't like the tackle. And Batstone, just as he did in last year's Varsity match, catching Oxford on the Cambridge on the counter-attack, and Oxford gets the first points of the game. But it was the interception, the breakaway from Oxford, from Danny O'Driscoll, that really set this up.
It's all about the last tackle options, coming up with the right decision at the right time. A fumble gives Danny O'Driscoll some open space, looking, finds somebody on the left, up in support. Oxford take the tackle, decide that the joy and the reward will be on this play. Lovely little show inside. Paul O'Connor, really influential last year. In and out from James Batstone, who's had a really aggressive start. Paul O'Connor again, so elusive, so evasive, gives a nice little pass, and that's what every winger dreams of. The in and out, gets the ball down. Good start for Oxford.
McCormick then with the conversion attempt. He's dragged that one right across the face of the posts, and he knows it. The look says it all from McCormick. But Oxford are ahead by 4 points to 0, and James Batstone continuing where he left off last season. 2 tries in the victory last year for Oxford, and getting their first try of the game. He has got terrific pace.
He has got a lot of pace, and he's aggressive as well for a winger. But these O'Connors have got some style, haven't they?
he can't possibly be related to you with that footwork and pace. Well, that's a satisfying start for Dan Garbett, but just getting presumably news of Josh Fenner from the touchline. So Cambridge restart, Oxford with the try, but with the problems as well, I think. Venner is off the field.
You know, when you play rugby league, it's all about transition, and when you've come up with a mistake at the other end of the pitch, you've got to regroup, you've got to gather, and the first place you've got to defend is around that ruck, because that's where the threat's going to come from. You've got to close it down, get numbers in the tackle and try to slow them down.
O'Driscoll plays the ball on his own 40-metre line. Will Lock for George Smybert up the middle of the field, right up the middle of the field from Smybert. Took a good tackle from Matt Bray to bring him down on the halfway line. O'Connor back on the inside to Satterthwaite. Satterthwaite is tackled, that's the 5th tackle. And they're going to turn the ball over early on in the piece. So let's get some news of these Oxford injuries, at least to Josh Fenner anyway. Here's Ben Pro.
The latest on Josh Fenner, Bill, it's a left knee problem. Has the eye supplied, as you see. That was after a course of the magic spray for the engineering student earlier. It's a cartilage problem, but the Oxford bench are confident that he can return very quickly in this game within 10 or 15 minutes.
Fenner hoping to return.
That's the difference already. When Cambridge take the ball, there's the injury. It just gets twisted down by the Cambridge players. But look at these forwards running for Cambridge. Every time they go, they're in ones. There's no support play. Oxford, there's a flood of players following the ball carrier every time they move forward.
Well, Cambridge looking to do something about that. Now down the wing with Brewster. Brewster gets the ball back in field. Play on, says the referee.
Oh, I thought there was a knock on there, Bill, as well. Ball left on the floor and they tried to pick it up. Last tackle option.
Good kick ahead. Oh, and the fumble by Paul O'Connor.
That's the result they were looking for. Bobbling along the floor. Paul O'Connor, little option really than just to go for it. And unfortunately, because of the pressure that Cambridge were putting on, he fumbles the ball. Here's the potential knock on.
Whoa, if there certainly wasn't one from Brewster, then it looked as though there was from Sonnenfeld, but play continues. Cambridge continue. Ali Glass back in field, did well to take that pass, but a good tackle from Hugh McCormick. Sykes. Freddie Humphreys again. Humphreys trying to force his way over. Oxford stand firm right on their own try line. Again a short pass, and they are over this time, are they? The try is awarded, and it's the captain, Matt Bray, who's got it. Leading from the front, the Cumbrian. And that's exactly what his side and their supporters needed.
Matt Bray, the enforcer of this Cambridge side, took a brave ball there and used some nifty footwork to come up with that try. But the Cambridge side needed something. Here's the knock on. I don't think it was a knock on that. I don't know whether that was a knock on. It didn't touch the floor. But here's Matt Bray. Look at the footwork there. He steps off his right, sees where the try line is, his body position as he goes to the line. And it was a good catch as well. The ball was above his head. He's reached up, and that's exposing his ribs. But he knew where the try line was then.
So the former Salford University student gets Cambridge on the scoreboard. The scores are level, and James Hunt with this conversion attempt to put Cambridge in front. And he's a prolific goal kicker, is Hunt. He's got enough on his mind. He's got an exam tomorrow morning. He's actually in the middle of his exams, James Hunt. No celebrating for him tonight if Cambridge pull this one off. It's back to university and into the exams tomorrow morning. But he's passed that exam as James Hunt. He's kicked Cambridge into a 6-4 lead.
I'm not sure about his celebrations. John Evans delighted with that score. That's been the story of this opening 10-15 minutes. They've been really tight to the ruck, running hard, running strong. It's Matt Bray who gets this Cambridge side off to a start. Just good, hard, strong running.
Put it on the line, mate. Just put it on the line. Cheers, pal. Make sure we stay behind, guys.
Good support for these two sides here at the Stoop. Good turnout as well for the pre-match dinner, if you saw at the top of the programme. over 300 people in the hospitality suite at the Stoop. The great and the good of rugby league there.
Yestin Harris was the...
And Barry and Terry.
Yestin Harris was the speaker, and as we see a mistake from the Cambridge side. Oh, dreadful little knock-on.
This is where you must concentrate. As soon as you've scored a try, you're all huddled back and you walk back. You've got to keep your focus and your concentration, because you see a lot of mistakes. As soon as you've scored the try, you seem to relax. They're back in the game, but they've got to build on that pressure.
It was Rupert Wingate Saul who made that error then. There's a good rugby league name for you.
2 hands on the ball now. 2 hands, feet. Not 1 hand, 2 hands. Stay!
So Oxford in a great attacking position from that error. Will Lock to Pete Foster. Foster going across the field.
First! Move! Hold.
Tackled by Luke Tyson, he was. Paddy Boyle now, this big 6 foot plus.
Second!
Prop forward for Oxford, but he's driven back.
Go.
Ken Humphreys in with the tackling. Tyson there as well. The ball with McCormick again. They're going across the field, but eventually reaches Dan Whitehouse. Whitehouse comes back in field.
Hold. Go.
Boyle.
Move. Hold.
4 tackles gone as Oxford press on this Cambridge line. Buchanan finds Forster. They're looking to get Batestone free again.
Release. Hold. Go.
On the last now. Will Lock will put the kick in.
Clear.
Cross field.
Play on.
Stetchman underneath that one and takes it well. It was Will Brewster, in fact, who did well there to take that kick.
10,
That's a brave take, that, with players, the Oxford players putting so much pressure on. But
move.
Look at this for a take.
Hold. Go.
The men coming out, bang, as soon as he catches it. But look, they've made the play there. Rupert come up with a mistake, but these Cambridge players, there's some of them down on the haunches, but they seem turning up for each other.
Saw Will Brewster on his haunches there. He's another one who's picked up an injury ahead of this game. He's dislocated his finger in training on Tuesday, and that's heavily strapped. And so there's all sorts of bumps and bruises, and we've seen Paul O'Connor in action, and the word is that O'Connor has got a cracked rib or a badly bruised rib cartilage ahead of this game. Here he is now, the fullback, and that can't be very comfortable, especially less so when Luke Tyson lands on top of you. Here's Batstone now, looking to get round the outside again. Hunt will close him down, and Hunt does well to take him into touch.
Do you know, we've given James Batstone some raps, but I'm not a big fan of wingers running directly into touch. You can only do the in and the out when you've got a bit of space. Stay on the island, lad.
Yeah, but you've got to give the lad some credit as well. He's confident in his own speed, isn't he? And he come up with that try earlier on because he backed himself.
His confidence was misplaced there because he got pushed in touch.
I don't think you've ever been that confident with your speed, have you?
Did he ever go round the outside?
Many times. Many times.
Go.
In my back garden.
Here comes Cambridge then. There's a lot of that in this game.
2, move, hold, go.
Stetchman plays the ball on the halfway line. Here is Freddie Humphreys again, and Humphreys beats the first line of defence. His tackle on the 40-metre line.
John Evans, the Cambridge coach, definitely thinks there's a weakness around the Oxford ruck area. They all seem to be targeting the big guys behind that ruck, trying to get them quick play the balls to take all the energy away from this Oxford side.
5,
It's the 5th tackle.
5.
Is George Sykes, and they're running this ball on the last one. Aaron Sonnenfeld, little kick ahead from Will Brewster. Brewster chasing that one, and O'Connor is going to be pinned down inside his own in-goal area, and that'll be a goal line dropout. That's good work from Cambridge.
It was
Brewster's
well
little
spotted.
kick.
Well spotted. They decided to run it. Brewster puts a kick in, chases hard. Paul O'Connor, with his back to play, can only secure the ball.
Stay behind.
Giving away a dropout.
Okay.
Paul O'Connor with a smile on his face knows it could have just as easily have been a try.
Not the best kick from McCormick, and James Hunt is underneath this one. Runs into Bradley. He's another ex-Bradford Grammar School pupil. Here's Matt Bray then, the try scorer for his Cambridge side. Bray gets to his feet and makes a mess of playing that ball. The referee says play on. It's with Ignacio Quintana.
Go. 13, you're
Now
off.
Sykes pops the ball up. Shearman looking for a second. He's over the line, but I think he's held up. He is, says James Child.
On the 10
Credit
metres.
those plays to
Play the ball
George
on the 10
Sykes. He's
metres.
picking the ball up.
It's a fourth tackle. Wait for
As soon
me.
as he
Wait.
sees a disrupted
Wait.
marker, he's picking the ball up,
Wait.
committing that first marker and putting his mate
Okay.
through that block hole.
4.
On the fourth tackle, Cambridge continue in possession. Here's Paddy Hunt. Hunt heading towards the sidelines. Manages to stay in the field of play.
Go.
Here is Sykes. Scrum half in last year's varsity match. The kick is stabbed through and they're offside.
Hand
Quintana
over, accidental
miles offside.
Again, I'm not sure whether that's to do with the depth. Both kickers. Here's the potential try. Just can't get his arm down,
Yeah,
but great defence from Oxford. Smothered the ball.
Go. Play on.
O'Connor. He's also trying to go around the outside, and that's a loose pass. Has put Pete Foster under pressure, and Cambridge, their tails are really up now. They lead by 6 points to 4, and Pete Foster, nowhere for him to go, and Batstone is given the full reception. Cambridge are fired up now.
It's going to be interesting to see what John Evans does when he takes Sherman off and he takes Paddy Hunt off, because they've made a real big impact this first 23 minutes. They've been putting the Oxford players all under all kinds of pressure.
Short pass from Will Locke to Pete Foster, but Foster is cut down by Ali Glass. And here's the big Kiwi now, Sam Whitehead. He is a monster. Played Aussie rules back home.
Hold, go.
6'5", I think he is.
14,
Kick downfield from McCormick. Max Stetchman now runs the ball back. Straight up the middle, the fullback.
That's a reward for good line speed from Cambridge. They restricted the progress that Oxford made. They're on tackle 2 here and they're almost up to the 30-metre line.
Will Brewster actually played for Oxford in the 2006 varsity match, but he's now at Cambridge doing a Masters.
Clear, hold, go.
Cambridge in possession with Sykes. Sykes down the short side to Rupert Wingate-Saul, and Wingate-Saul moves the ball on.
Over 10.
Played by Sonnenfeld. Coming from deep now with James Hunt. Hunt looping pass out to Carl Schroeder. Schroeder going on his own. Big unit in the centres. That's the 5th tackle as Schroeder plays the ball.
Clear.
The kick from Sykes across field, that's going to be too deep.
20.
Only just.
Last tackle options again. They need to take advantage of the opportunities that they're making for themselves, Cambridge. Good line speed, good defence, got them in that position, and a wasted opportunity.
On his foot,
Well, Cambridge have every right to be confident. They've lost only one game this season against student opposition, and that was against Nottingham Trent University. They've won their particular division of the Student Rugby League in the Midlands, and that's the first time in 10 years Cambridge have won their division, so it's a confident side, although they do play a division lower than Oxford, who have had a tougher season. They've won only 2 games in their particular division this season, but playing against tougher opposition, including Uwick, Cardiff, the Cardiff University, and they ran them very close.
But whatever your division you're playing in, Bill, it builds confidence when you get them results and you get them wins.
Offside against Cambridge.
You're offside.
Well, a good crowd here, and among it, Abby Okoku to the right, Paul Sculthorpe in the middle. Former Saints captain here with his chairman, Eamon McManus, who is Jason Critchley, I think, seen there. So it's a star-studded crowd here.
It's amazing what folk will do for free wine, Bill.
That's outrageous. Oxford on the attack.
First, move,
with Sam Whitehead.
go, put on the ball.
And now Boyle, they've got the big units out there. Boyle, 6'5", Whitehead 6'4". It's Boyle who gets to his feet. That's a long way to climb, plays the ball. McCormick, maybe if he backed his judgment, he's backed his judgment, he's just short, he stretches out, double movement. It was a knock on, in fact. Well, I thought it was a double movement. McCormick's got a whack on the nose as well.
Hugh McCormack with white line fever here, just can't resist. putting his arms out, can't keep control of the ball.
Mitch, we're locking.
You're right, Bill, that pass was on. If he'd have given that to his outside man, Oxford would have scored. He took the chance and took the option to go himself and just couldn't resist getting that ball out.
Tight heads.
Lose his
Move
possession.
forward. Come on, mate. Come on.
So a let-off for Cambridge, who do look a bit fragile on their flanks.
Move. Go.
So they've escaped that time. Stetchman
Second.
runs into Sam Whitehead. Whitehead,
Go.
an engineering student. Well, no, in fact, he's a particle physics student, and he's worked on the Large Hadron Collider, which Phil Clark knows all about. They're on the charge again, Cambridge. Shearman, oh, he couldn't give the pass in time. It was a great run from the prop forward, and Oxford have snapped it up.
A fantastic run from the Shermanator. He saw Sam Whitehead, the number 14 with a head guard on. He's a big unit, very immobile, quick step, can't find his support player, and just takes that option. Just couldn't resist. A little bit more composure from both sides, and you feel there's some tries to be scored.
Back comes the Oxford side. It's a good ball from Danny O'Driscoll. Found Pete Forster, and Humphreys is there as well. Good tackle from Freddie Humphreys, assisted by Mark Sweeney. Here's Whitehead once more. Farmer's son from Canterbury in New Zealand.
Go.
Oxford on the attack with Will Locke now.
Play on. Play it out. Play on.
And the kick picked off by Cambridge. And Paddy Hunt will bring it away.
Will Locke needed to look up there because the numbers he had outside there,
Hold the 10.
that was a poor option. There was 4-5 to 1 defenders there, attackers there to the one defender. And I think that Will Locke will look back on that with regret.
2, hold. Go.
Here's Sherman once more.
Third.
He's had a big opening 28 minutes, hasn't
Well,
he?
he's got good rugby league experience. 4th varsity match. He plays in the summer for St Ives Roosters in the conference. He knows the game.
And a big prop forward to last 28 minutes without going off.
Are you looking at me there?
He's a former Arnold School pupil in Blackpool, is James Sherman. Well, Freddie Humphreys wasn't anticipating that pass from George Sykes, but he managed to keep a hold of it.
Clear.
Batstone takes the kick straight into his arms, and that's dangerous.
1.
Paddy Hunt tried to put a big hit on him. It was Freddie Humphreys who completed the tackle.
Come on, mate.
Good position by Batstone to get under that ball, but a better kick. They're looking for the position now. They're trying to put the ball behind this Oxford side and play them in their own territory.
Third. Movement.
Phil Satterthwaite takes the tackle just inside his own half for Oxford. Here's Hugh McCormick, managing to stagger his way over the halfway line. He's lost that ball. A little knock on from McCormick, and no, he can't believe it.
Knock on.
Again, the Shermanator, number 10 in your picture there, along with his hooker, just making it difficult for McCormack to get up and play the ball.
Quickly down to the sidelines for some more injury news from Ben.
It's a forgettable first varsity, I should say, for Josh Venner, Bill, because the injury that they hope would heal up quickly is more severe than at first thought. It's actually a small tear on the patella, and now he's only got a 30% chance of taking a further part in this match.
So that's a very short evening's work for Josh Venner. Very disappointing for him in his first varsity match, the Minehead Barbarian.
15, come off the side. Play on.
Knock on there. Ball in the hands of Oxford now, and in the hands of Sam Whitehead. So plenty of errors, but plenty of endeavour as well. Here's McCormick.
First, move, hold 6, go.
Sherman just going without it that time. Here's Whitehead. Offloads that ball. And this is Quentin McFarlane, tackled on halfway. He had an eventful build-up to this game, managed to walk into a door frame and nearly knocked himself out. Here's Pete Foster. Foster pops the ball over the top to Paul O'Connor, and again they've got Batstone away, but this time they've done it with a forward pass, and Batstone not impressed with that decision.
They're a confident side, this Oxford side. They're just looking to promote the ball at every opportunity. Batstone again, hugging that touchline. But the pass went forward, but they're not afraid to throw the ball around, take this Cambridge side out on the width of the pitch. But Paul O'Connor has started really strong, as has that man in your screen, Baxton.
Stay out.
It's with Oxford and with Rupert Wingate Saul.
13, you're off.
And now the fullback Max Stetchman with Cambridge. Just moving inside the Oxford 40.
Go.
Sherman again, no sign of him having a breather.
Movement.
Number 17 in your screen there, Quentin McFarlane. He's the guy that will take Josh Venner's role. He's done that for all but, you would say, about 30 minutes. He's done reasonably well.
Okay.
Sherman takes the tackle, could have had a penalty there, does have a penalty, and that was silly from Quentin McFarlane. Just hang on to his heels. Now then, will they go for the 2 points here? James Hunt is striding up to where the penalty has been awarded. That was it.
That's Sherman again, isolating a smaller defender. It's a legs tackle. He then is allowed to get up and play that ball. Quentin McFarlane, I'm giving him a rap and he gives a penalty away. He has no other option. It's a quick play of the ball, unless he surrenders and gives away that penalty. Everything's right back down the ruck. Everything's big fellas going at good angles, going really, really tight, tiring out the bigger players for Oxford.
James Hunt then with this conversion, or this penalty attempt. You've got to look at how clear that number 6 is on the back of that Cambridge shirt. Very clear numbers. Very well done, Cambridge. And Oxford as well there. Nice and clear. That's how to number your shirts. Because I know some people are very particular about that.
Is there a reference to anything there, Bill?
Hunt successful with that penalty goal. And Cambridge extend their lead, albeit to a narrow 8-4 advantage.
And they look very confident. You can see them all jogging back now. They've got a bit of a lift in the stride. The guy on the left-hand side there is a guy called Brian Chambers, who coached Barry at Barlow level, didn't he, Barry? And he actually dropped you for your last test.
Warrington.
You still don't like him now, do you?
Brian Chambers is a lovely fella. Don't be stirring any trouble up.
Dan Garbutt just inquiring as to Josh Venner's fitness. Brian Chambers, a Warringtonian.
He is a lovely fella. He gave us our opportunity and probably opened the door into professional rugby league for me and the likes of Darren Fleary and Paul Anderson and a couple of others. So a great judge and probably rightly dropped me.
Well, they've got some good rugby league grounding, or coaches with good rugby league grounding. John Evans, St Helens lad. Brian Chambers, a Warringtonian. Of course, a busy day for the Warrington club with Tony Smith moving in there. It's today's big story, but the big news here is who is going to win this 29th varsity match. And at the moment, after 35 minutes, it's Cambridge in the lead.
And again, the little half breaks are starting to come around the middle of the park. That's because of all the big hard work the big guys are doing. In the first 10-15 minutes, they were getting clogged round the head. They were not making any yards, but they're taking energy away from this Oxford side.
O'Connor, he really is good on his feet as the fullback, but he's off his feet now. Tackled.
Did you say he had a cracked rib, Paul O'Connor?
He's got some rib injury. They're not. It's getting like Super League, this is. They're not being particularly forthcoming about the extent of his injury in case the opposition find out. But he's got some sort of rib injury.
A cracked rib. I had one of those from the Chinese.
He wouldn't be playing, would he? Oh, right.
Move.
Still at it.
Go.
Little fumble from Quentin McFarlane.
All the pressure that Freddie Humphreys had put on in the tackle and then at the play of the ball and then just losing the ball. That's criminal, that.
That's my favourite, the grip. Getting that thumb round the ball.
The thumb round the ball.
Loose forward hands.
He's had a big first half as Freddie Humphreys in 11 for Cambridge. I understand Freddie Humphreys is a Widnes fan in actual fact, but here goes James Hunt for the Cambridge side. Hunt is tackled by George Smybert. But Cambridge have got Oxford on the back foot. Stetchman.
Right. Hold. Go.
Oxford managing to regroup.
Third.
but Cambridge only about 5 metres away now as they play the ball. It's the third tackle. Again, they go for the drive. Whoa, big hit. 3 in there.
Hold. Go.
Stetchman felt that. Now here's James Hunt, and Hunt again fancying his chances up the middle. Quentin McFarlane with the tackle. That's the 5th tackle. Hunt tied up playing the ball, so it'll be down to Rupert Wingate-Saul to put the kick in. It's a neat little grubber. That is a good kick, and well played by O'Connor. Bravely done by O'Connor to get his way out of trouble there.
That's a good kick, and it's good pressure from the Cambridge side, not allowing this Oxford side to make any yardage. This is a bit of bravery from Paul O'Connor. If he's carrying a rib injury, he's not showing it tonight, is he?
Here's the captain, George Smyber. There is Paul O'Connor.
Go.
Another West Country lad out there. Several of them in between these two sides. Quentin McFarlane now, his role important with Josh Venner off the field. Back on the inside to Danny O'Driscoll, cousin of Ireland's Brian O'Driscoll and son of another rugby union international, John O'Driscoll, who will be here tonight, no doubt, watching his lad in action. All that kick bouncing beyond Stetchman, and Stetchman looks up and Batstone is there. That's what they call him. Oh, what a mess at the play the ball. And Ali Glass has to redeem the situation, and Quentin McFarlane, well, he's made 1 or 2 errors, but there's no doubting his enthusiasm since he's come on.
Move to the side.
Will Brewster plays the ball on the 40-metre line. Here is Freddie Humphreys again, and Humphreys doing well once more.
He does pick a good line, stands wide on the left and takes a nice cute little line into the ruck area, and I say again, that's where Cambridge are getting a lot of joy. George Sykes picking up, committing that defender. Again, very deep with the chase. Kick, sorry.
That's the rugby union coming through, isn't it? Batstone runs that ball back.
Go.
Plays the ball. O'Connor picks up and goes. And again, they're wise to the danger posed by the Oxford University fullback. There's something of the Tony Duggan about Paul O'Connor, a very elusive runner. And Pete Foster, another good open field runner for this Oxford side, but not allowed to make progress beyond the halfway line. Here's Quentin McFarlane. McFarlane pops the ball up to Danny Seuss now, off the bench for Oxford.
You think that in the second half, particularly towards the end of the second half, there's going to be some points scored from around the ruck, because the big lads are doing so much work, especially the Oxford players who are defending. But you've got to give credit to them, Bill. This Cambridge side, they train at 6:30 in the morning to get up for this game. They've played 10 games, as I say, the confidence of only losing 1 going into this game. I think that's why they're in front.
Will Lock with the kick. Well dealt with by Ali Glass. Half-time approaching then, and this game really is evenly balanced, because just 4 points separate the two sides.
Go. 15, you're off.
Cambridge just ahead. Aaron Sonnenfeld got a whack there as he took that ball in. Now it's with Matt Bray, the captain of Cambridge, who is tackled, and that's the last play of this first half. Bray gets to his feet. He can feel satisfied with his team's effort. So can his coach, John Evans. And Dan Garbutt won't be too disheartened by that. His side taking the lead and then being pegged back and overhauled by this Cambridge side. A really competitive first half. And Cambridge just ahead at the break by 8 points to 4. And looking to avenge 2 defeats in a row.
A whole day of international cricket this Friday. In the early hours from 1 AM on Sky Sports 1, New Zealand v India in the second one-day international. From 8 AM on Sky Sports 2, South Africa v Australia, the second test. From 1:30 PM on Sky Sports 1, in association with Specsavers, West Indies v England, the 5th and final test. Can Strauss's team level the series? International cricket all day, Friday on Sky Sports.
What a day. After a hard day's work, the last thing you want to do is go home and spend hours sorting out your van insurance. That's where Direct Line comes in. Just one quick call, and in the time it takes you to load up the van, they'll give you a deal that could save you loads of cash. And right now, they're offering 12 months cover for the price of 10. So don't hang about. Call 0800 404 8585 or visit directline.com. Van insurance, Direct Line. Job done.
Products. The cooperative believe that when the benefits are passed around, it's good for everyone.
When the world makes your eyes dry and irritated, it's often because their protective moisture layer is damaged. But now there's an amazing way to help repair the damage. New Optrex Actimist Eye Spray. Spray it on closed eyes, then, unlike drops, it helps repair the protective layer, restoring natural moisture in the blink of an eye. Change the way you see eye care forever. Try new Optrex Actimist Eye Spray.
Isn't this nice? Just you and Carlton Palmer having a bath. Shh. You know that bet you lost on the game last night? Well, because the last goal was a header, Paddy Power refunding losing bets. Here you go. Put some Christy Berg on.
Before you bet, check out the money back specials at paddypower.com.
Wins it.
There's live Super League coming up on Sky Sports over the weekend. On Friday, two form sides go head-to-head at the Gal Farm. It's Huddersfield Giants against Hull FC. That's at 7:30 on Sky Sports 2 and also available on HD2. And that's followed by Super League Extra Time. That follows via the red button on Sky Sports 2. We'll have in-depth match analysis and coaches interviews as well. That's in Super League Extra Time. And we might well be looking ahead to this particular game, the Wigan Warriors against the Bradford Bulls, and that's at 5:30 on Sky Sports 2 and on HD2. So two cracking games to come in Super League. A cracking second half to come here potentially at the Stoop, because at half time in the P-cubed Varsity match it's Oxford University 4, Cambridge University 8. So not a lot to choose between these two sides at half time. And you know, this fixture has its critics. There's always questions about why this fixture gains so much attention. And okay, it's not the highest standard of rugby league, but there is absolutely no doubting the endeavour of the two sides out there, and they've set it up for another great second half, haven't they?
You go out there, Bill, and tell them that there's nothing at stake, because these guys are giving it all. It was always going to be interesting to see how Oxford got on with the loss of Dewsbury. Dewsbury was the inspirational leader that they had over a number of years, and he was the guy that they always looked to. And last year, Oxford were really running away with it. I think at half-time they were winning 28 points to 0, and the game was over for Cambridge from that. But this Cambridge side have really stood up. I thought the Shermanator has been absolutely sensational for Cambridge, putting shots on, leading from the front, getting Cambridge on the front foot, and the half-backs have been having a field day off the back of what he's been doing.
Well, one of the guys that Cambridge will have been warned to look out for was the man who did so much damage to them last year, Oxford's James Batston, and he was involved early on, wasn't he?
James Batston, so aggressive for a winger. I'm not saying wingers aren't aggressive, but look at Oxford, the way they throw the ball around. And Batston, look, always backing his pace to get on the outside, and just too much speed there for the Cambridge defenders. But this is the one where Barrett, I don't think this was a knock-on. I don't think he's lost the ball there, Bill. I don't think it actually touched the floor. Cambridge have played to the whistle, and then they've scored off this next play. Matt Bray has come on strong and hard onto this ball. He's lifted up, good footwork for the big prop forward to get over and get the Cambridge teammates back into this game. Now this was Hugh McCormack going ever so close. He reached out thinking that he was going to get there, but that was double movement. Probably the best player there was the next player. But Hugh McCormack was that close from scoring the try. the temptation was too much for him.
Well, it's only 4 points between the two sides. Oxford have shown that they can attack Cambridge on the flanks. Cambridge maybe have the advantage up the middle. Very hard to say which way this game's going to go, isn't it?
I think in the second half, Cambridge have done real hard work up the middle of that park. I think Cambridge are going to have a lot of joy in and around the ruck. The Cambridge forwards have really tore into the opposition. Therefore, if they do that, if you can imagine that there's no way in the world that the Oxford players can build and lay a platform for the halfbacks, and just the way that the Cambridge plays, I think Cambridge will score a few points in the second half.
Well, it's not just about what's happening on the pitch tonight for Oxford and Cambridge, because off the field we have cake wars. And if you've been watching the Varsity match over the last few years, you'll know that the wife of John Hobart, who's a long-serving Oxford University coach, Dr. Dom Hobart, always bakes us a cake. But there is retaliation this year from Bev Evans, the wife of the Cambridge coach, John Evans, and Bev has gone into baking and has baked this. The big one is the Cambridge coach.
The Cambridge coach.
That's the Oxford cake.
Should I try this one
Dom
first?
Hobart's. Yeah, take the paper off first. And Terry, it's Terry's duty.
I don't like eating
to
cakes
adjudicate.
normally.
No, you don't, do you? That's not what we've witnessed. So that is the fairy cake.
That is definitely a fairy cake. And that one has got no chance whatsoever.
Really?
I'm going for the big one, Bill. Without even tasting it.
There's a surprise.
Without even tasting it, I'm going for the big one.
This is the passion cake.
The passion cake is
Bev
the
Evans'
winner.
passion cake.
Can I eat it all?
No,
That has got a lot of passion in that.
So Cambridge have edged this one.
Most definitely.
Cambridge.
Can I walk off and eat this?
No,
please?
you can't.
Do you want some?
I won't just at the moment, but I am looking forward.
Lovely, that.
I'm looking forward to tasting these cakes. So Cambridge, it would appear, as far as Terry O'Connor goes, have edged it in the cake wars.
And the tie.
But there is no bias there, of course. And there is no bias as far as the second half goes. Oxford hoping to make it 3 in a row. Can you see him doing that?
I think that Oxford have got to pick up the game, and they've got to, instead of trying to take the Cambridge players out wide and using Batstone, because they've got speed out there, I think they've got to do the hard work. They've got to come up with a better kick chase. They've got to put pressure on the Cambridge side, because Cambridge are just laying that platform. They're working really hard as a team. They're turning up for each other. Even when they're defending on their own line, they're coming up with the players, and you can see them just turning up, high-fiving each other, and that's teamwork, and they're confident. You said in commentary, they've only lost 1 game this year, and whether or not they're playing the division below what Oxford are playing, that's where the confidence is built, because they're used to winning. So I think it's going to be very difficult for Oxford to come back and get this result.
Well, Cambridge have edged the cake wars, but have they got the right ingredients in the second half? Have they got the recipe for success? We'll find out after the break, because this Varsity match is very evenly balanced. Batstone has put Oxford in front, but Cambridge have come roaring back. They lead at the break by 8 points to 3. Can they win it for the first time in 3 years?
Have you heard from Olivia this morning?
No, why? What's up?
She's missing.
Fringe, returning soon. Sky One.
This is the standard of clarity, brilliance, and the dazzling shine that is now concentrated in the red Powerball of new Finish Quantum. It's only dishwashing, but we believe you deserve a brilliant shine on all your dishes. Quantum Finish, the diamond standard. And now you can get the same diamond standard with our new Lemon Sparkle range.
Our 7-year warranty makes every Kia Ceed future-proof.
Got a cold? Need help? Lemsip Max All-in-One starts to get to work in just 5 minutes. No hot drink works faster for cold and flu. And now Lemsip Max All-in-One Liquid for cold and flu. Got a burning sore throat? New Strepsils Cool offers proven medicinal action and an instantly cooling sensation. Try new Strepsils Cool. There's no lozenge quite like it.
For every friend you introduce to Sky TV, we'll give you £50 of M&S vouchers. Each friend you introduce will get £50 of vouchers too. And they'll enjoy the same great thrilling lineup of Sky TV as you do. And since there's no limit to the amount of friends you can introduce, there's no end to the amount of vouchers you can get. That's £50 of M&S vouchers for you both when you introduce a friend to Sky TV. Ask them to call today on 08442 410 101. Sky.
Isn't this nice? Just you and Carlton Palmer having a bath. Shh. You know that bet you lost on the game last night? Well, because the last goal was a header, Paddy Power refunded losing bets. Here you go. Put some Christy Berg on.
Before you bet, check out the money back specials at paddypower.com.
Oh no! Your dress for today's party's ruined.
We can get this stain out. To stop this from happening again, just add a scoop of Vanish Oxy Action in every wash to help stain insure your laundry and save you from rewashing. Let's do it together. I'll show you how it works. Using detergent alone isn't always enough to remove tough stains. See? Easy. It is. And it's not ruined. You can go to your party after all. Vanish. Trust pink, forget stains.
From indie to big time.
I'm ready.
Nicolas Cage in amazing high definition.
Yes!
Cage Week starts Monday on Sky Movies Modern Grades and Modern Grades HD.
There's live Super League coming up on Sky Sports on Friday as Huddersfield Giants take on Hull FC, 7:30 Sky Sports 2 and HD2, followed by Super League Extra Time, available via the red button with in-depth match analysis and interviews with the coaches. That's on Friday. And then on Saturday, live from the JJB, we have Wigan against Bradford. That's at 5:30 on Sky Sports 2 and HD2. So that's Huddersfield against Hull on Friday, Wigan against Bradford on Saturday, 7:30 and 5:30, Sky Sports 2 and HD2. Here at the Stoop at half-time, Oxford University 4, Cambridge University 8. It's the try apiece and 2 goals from James Hunt separating these two sides. So the game is evenly balanced as Cambridge get the second half underway with James Hunt, and expect some fireworks early on in this second half. So much at stake between these two sides. This is the game that matters for them all season. George Smybert with the first hit for Oxford University. This is the one they want to win. They play in their Midlands division of the Student Rugby League. They play in the British Student Athletics Cup. When it comes down to it, it's the varsity match that it's all about.
George Smybert in the first hip-up of this second half really signalled the intent of this Oxford side. They need to play with more passion, more directness, as we see Forrester doing exactly the same.
And immediately Oxford nailing their colours to the mast and trying to get the ball out wide again to the danger man Batston. That's where they go every time. The threat he poses is a real danger to this Cambridge side. And Oxford on the charge. Again, great defence, and Paddy Hunt once more at the 4. Danny Seuss felt that. Just a little bit sluggish to get to his feet to play the ball.
Give 10, give 10.
Harold Buchanan with the kick. Ooh. Brewster all over the place underneath that one, but fortunately able to retrieve it. Let's just put this cake issue to bed, because Terry, not surprisingly, as he's wearing a Cambridge tie, favours the Cambridge cake. I think it's only fair. You've missed out on this. It's only fair that you have a quick taste of the Oxford cake as baked by Dr. Dom Hobart.
I'm a little bit disappointed, Bill, may I ask. I've only gone for a break, come back, says he's eating cakes.
Well, you're not surprised though, are you?
Well, it's not so much of a surprise. He spends so much of his time eating cakes, but I've tasted it and I'm going for Dom's cake, the fairy cake. With no bias whatsoever. That's a beautiful cake. Bigger doesn't mean better, Tez.
So it's a draw. We'll call that one a draw.
No, I think you should have the deciding vote.
He's actually at 6 little 30 curves though.
Move, hold, go.
You should pick a winner, Bill. Come on.
Well, we'll
sit
leave
on the
that till
fence.
later. We need a winner here tonight. It's 8-4 at the moment. Let's get some half-time news from Ben on the sideline.
Well, for a coach who's winning 8-4, Bill, John Evans not happy at all. He says that's the worst 40 minutes that Cambridge have played all season. So he's obviously wanting an improvement in the second half, particularly in the areas of composure and ball retention. As for Dan Garbutt, the Oxford coach, he's concerned about the defence of his side, particularly the marker defence. He wants them to cut out the errors. And the update on Josh Venner, he will not be returning. He won't be coming back in this game. That patella tear is confirmed.
Forster trying to find Batman, but Batstone is tackled. They were once again trying to get the winger away.
John Evans must have seen some really good rugby this year, because the way that Cambridge played in that first 40 minutes, they were aggressive, they were strong, they were playing rugby, they were doing the basics correctly. The kicking game did improve on from last year, so they must have played some fantastic rugby league this year.
Carl Schroeder plays the ball. Schroeder, a relative of St Helens prop James Graham, and in fact I think, well, certainly last year James Graham sent him a text message wishing him the best of luck, and I've no doubt that the same message was sent this evening. And Schroeder, in fact, playing with a plate in his, a metal plate in his left leg, I think it is. He broke that shortly after last year's varsity match. Here are Oxford on the attack with Matt Bray. Cambridge on the attack with Matt Bray, plays the ball.
I think Dan Garbutt's frustration at his markers is coming from the work that George Sykes is putting in. We won't see it for this set, but whenever Cambridge get the ball and they start that rolling ruck, George Sykes is coming up, committing the marker and putting his teammate right back in that block hole, getting those vital yards.
That's where Cambridge have been so strong. Look how slow the play the ball is from the Oxford side, because they're dominating in defence, they're turning the plays on the back, they're tackling in numbers. Look at the wrestle.
Yeah, Oxford struggling to make progress. Danny Seuss in his first varsity match stopped very quickly. So's Charlie Rowe on the field there for this Oxford side. This is his second varsity. Now here's the big unit, Sam Whitehead. They've got some size out there of Oxford, as well as some pace on the wings.
And that's where the Cambridge players are probably targeting the size, probably hoping that they're going to get them off balance, because they're not, the movement's not as good.
A generous play on from James Child as Will Brewster seemed to knock that one forward.
But if you looked at the depth of the kicker again, how can his chasers be onside? It's 20 metres back.
Good run from Stetchman. There's Brewster fumbling that ball. So Cambridge once more on the attack. Looping pass out wide to Will Brewster. Brewster comes back in field. That's the fourth tackle.
Hold, go.
Rupert Wingate Saul, and then that's the fifth tackle as Bray plays the ball. Rupert Wingate Saul has to stretch for that. It's not a bad kick. Oh, and a mess between the fullback. O'Connor and Batstone getting in each other's way. And a knock on gives Cambridge great position.
You've got to be dominant when you call for that ball. Both players going for the ball. Paul O'Connor losing it, but there's a right schmozzle at the back, putting them under all kinds of pressure. Batstone just focused on the ball. It was Paul O'Connor's ball all day, that at fullback.
So there's a great opportunity for Cambridge. Here is James Hunt, and Hunt will take them on himself. He's got exams first thing in the morning, but his mind is on this test here tonight. Ignacio Quintana, 2 tackles gone. Sykes, the ball over the top. It went backwards, play on, says the referee. Comes back to Sykes. 3 tackles gone.
Go.
Rupert Wingate Saul will pop this ball up, and Bray again on the charge, but this time Oxford shut him down early on. Sykes. Here's Rupert Wingate Saul again. Hunt shifts the ball on. Schroeder has got the man outside him, but chose to go himself, Carl Schroeder.
Move! Go! Play on!
They come back across the field. Oh, that was high. That was high. And that was Danny Seuss with the tackle. And that'll be another 2 points, I'd imagine.
A high tackle from Oxford here. It's Danny Seuss just reaching, lunging almost. The concern for me is Carl Schroeder in the centre. He played in the second row in the same fixture last year. Was very strong, good leg drive. I didn't notice him pass the ball last year. I think twice, once in the first half and definitely on that last play. If he hands that ball onto his winger, it's try time for Cambridge.
This has surprised me, that Cambridge going for the penalty kick. They're already in front on the scoreboard. The field position definitely in this half has all been with Cambridge. And Cambridge are just sending on James Sherman again, so that's going to add a lot more impact. I'm a bit surprised by that. I probably would have gone for the play. We were putting so much pressure on Oxford then.
Keep the pressure up, but I think the closeness and tightness of this game starting to show, and they feel that 2 points is better than none.
So Hunt succeeds, and the Cambridge cheerleaders show their pleasure. These are the Cambridge Cougars, who are Cambridge University's official cheerleading team, and they are your authentic American-style cheerleaders, and a lot to cheer about for their side tonight as they increase their lead here by 10 points to 4.
It's all good stuff, Bill. All about inclusion, our game. Get them involved. I like their outfit. I think that would particularly suit my friend Terry. Although I'm not sure whether they do them in triple XL.
Paddy Hunt takes the tackle.
They need to be dominant here at Oxford. If they've got to get back in this game, this is where they need to try and force the error. Like that shot there coming up, Seuss again pouring his body on the line, trying to dislodge that ball. When you're defending, it's another form of attack. You've got to look for that ball. You've got to come up with a big shoulder. You've got to try and dislodge that ball. And all these Oxford players are trying to do something to lift the teammates.
James Sherman on the charge. He's doing his dad proud tonight. He said that's what he wanted to do, and he certainly is. Freddie Humphreys, another one who's worked hard for this Cambridge side.
Been really impressed with Sherman, Humphreys and Hunt. And Tez, you're talking about trying to get some dominance. You're not going to get it with committed runs, determination like those three players are showing.
O'Connor takes that ball. This time he was on his own, nobody to interfere with him, and he finds Batstone, and they've got him away again, but Hunt is across there, and Hunt makes the tackle. They're hoping to take him into touch, assisted by Carl Schroeder, but he's such a threat.
But he done better than to stay in Batstone. He knew that if he would have carried on and continued his run, the Cambridge players would have dragged him into touch, so he's probably learnt a lesson from that first half.
A weary Danny Seuss gets to his feet to play that ball. Ignacio Quintana with the tackle on Charlie Rowe. Rowe plays the ball. It's back with Will Locke now. Locke finds Phil Satterthwaite. Satterthwaite taking him on. He's tackled by Rupert Wingate-Saul. He's lost that ball. It's a penalty. It was stolen, says the referee.
Definitely ripped that ball. Just couldn't resist it. Will Brewster. There you see he's got hold of the ball. Tries to kid the referee. Good field position now for Oxford. Can they apply some pressure?
It's the best field position they've had in this second half. Here is Phil Satterthwaite again. Trying to crawl his way a bit closer to that Cambridge line. Here's Anthony Bradley. Bradley legs driving towards the try line, and it's taken three of them to push him just back short of it, but Bradley virtually on the whitewash plays the ball, and Oxford have made a terrible mess of that, and Cambridge have come up with it, and Hunt swoops on the ball to snaffle it for Cambridge, and then Hunt almost makes a mess of the play of the ball. He does. Oh dear, error following error.
Well, for the Oxford side, you felt that the closer they got to the line, the more it went against them. Here's the fumble. They're very, very deep for Oxford. Both sides are actually, and in trying to play the ball, I'm not sure that's a knock-on actually. But anyway, Oxford won't be complaining.
5 metres.
Let's see what they can do with it. They're very, very deep.
Oxford supporters finding their voice again. They're going across the field. It's with Hugh McCormick.
Move. Hold.
It's the first tackle. McCormick has just come on to replace Danny Seuss, and there's Quentin McFarlane. And McFarlane has knocked that ball off. So another error, and Cambridge will get that back, and that is a relief for the light blues. McFarlane can't believe that.
Losing the ball, going for the glory ball, going for the try, trying to get the Oxford team back in. There's not so much shape outside for the Oxford side. Apart from the long ball to Batson on the wing, they've got to be more inventive. They've got to have more players running for the gaps, pushing up into that next hole, and trying to create something for the halfbacks. If I was
too long, come on, go move. Need some movement.
A penalty away here because they were lying on top of him. They wouldn't let the Cambridge player stand up on his feet.
McCormick late on the scene.
Do you know, if I was Dan Garbutt, I'd look at saying and say to my teammates, how are you going to get back into the game? Well, I personally think you've got to take the energy out of Sherman, you've got to take the energy out of Hunt, because them two players are making too much yards. They're pulling all the defenders in, they're taking a lot of energy out. And Hunt again, look, he's got 3 players wrapped up, he's trying to get up for the quick play of the ball, and Cambridge are playing off the back of that all the time. Here's the other one, Sherman. The Oxford players, I think, need to target them and make them defend, because that's what really tires you out.
Kick straight into the arms of Dan Whitehouse of Oxford. Big weekend for Student Rugby League this, of course, because you've got 2 student sides involved in the Challenge Cup. Loughborough away to Halifax, and promises to be some game at Headingley on Saturday when Leeds Met are at home to Rochdale Hornets. So 2 big Student Rugby League matches there.
You wouldn't bank
big
against
games for student sides. Sorry, Barry.
Sorry, you wouldn't bank against Paul Fletcher with his Leeds Met side coming up with a victory against a
But here's Pete Forster. Forster, gets it to Batson. It was forward. It was forward. And Batson is stopped anyway. But the pass from Pete Forster was forward. And a chance goes begging for Oxford.
And again, Forster coming up with the speed, getting on the outside of his men. But sometimes you've got to just get down, you've got to keep control of the ball, and it's the next play, because the Cambridge defenders are all at seas, they can't get back. Look at the determination on his face. But it's not that ball to Batson. The play the ball's there, Batson on the next play. That's where Oxford were going to have more of a chance of scoring the try.
Go.
So big let off that is for Cambridge.
Move, hold.
Stetchman to his feet to play the ball. Not surprisingly, the pace of this game is slowing down a bit.
Just having a look at the Oxford side, I'm saying they're very deep, but what they are as well, they're very lateral. They're almost running to the touchline. You think they're a good line, a good drop-off, or something a little bit back against the grain could cause this Cambridge side some problems.
Hunt, that's a good kick. He's found a bit of space with that one. All other kicks from both sides have been right into the arms of the winger full-back. Well, that one goes dead.
Well, it's still a good kick from James Hunt. John Evans will be happy with that, because Cambridge have got the defensive line sorted. You can see it there. The referee, James Child, is hurled up play. So look, that is a condensed, tight defensive line, and look how they will dominate this set of 6. Get numbers into the tackle, turn the Oxford players on the back, thus getting the slow play of the balls.
Bradley to his feet to play the ball, the Bradford Bulls supporter. Cambridge doing just that, defending strongly, as Phil Satterthwaite took that ball up, and now it's with Paul O'Connor. A darting run from the full-back, but still inside their own 40. And once more they go to that right-hand side and attempt to get Batson away. But this time they're going straight up the middle with McCormick. McCormick, good run from him. Still going the loose forward. He had Dan Whitehouse alongside him. It didn't give the pass, but they're all stacked up now for Oxford. Smybert, the captain. Again, the direct approach. That's the 5th tackle. If Cambridge survive this, it'll be a big sigh of relief from the Light Blues. Buchanan's crossfield kick, straight up in the air. Batson gets a shove. Right under the nose of the touch judge, and knock on is the referee's decision, and he gives Oxford head and feed.
The best result for Oxford there. Fantastic break. A kick that probably would have been better a little bit further down, but you're better too short than too long. Just look at this break here. It's Hugh McCormack, just puts the accelerator down.
Stay out.
Hands one off, hands another. He's looking for support.
And another error Play on, says the referee, as Oxford knock it on. Then there was a knock on by Aaron Sonnenfeld, just getting to his feet, and it's George Smybert with the knock on.
You've got to make sure you concentrate, haven't you? All the pressure then, an easy ball to catch.
He wasn't expecting that, to be fair, Tez. He wasn't expecting that. There was 3 players in the vicinity.
But what have you got to concentrate on, Barry? You've got to concentrate on the man who's carrying the ball, and you've always got to expect it.
Of course you have, but from set pieces, set plays, you know, it's often 1 in, 2 in, and we'll set for this.
Every player is an attacking player when you have the ball.
That is what Oxford are doing.
Break it up, break it up, break it up. Come on.
They are setting things up instead of playing what's in front of them.
Hold, go.
That's why they're behind on the scoreboard.
Have you finished?
Play on!
I finished ages ago, then.
Cambridge on the attack. Play on, says the referee. Just 1 try apiece here. The boot of James Hunt has extended Cambridge's lead. We've only had 1 draw in the history of the University Varsity match. That was in 1995, a 20-all draw. There's a potential for 1 here. A little chip kick. Oh, and it's into the arms of Batstone. You don't want to be doing that. He's come straight across the field and eventually is tackled by Brewster.
Hold, go. Second, move.
2 tackles gone for Oxford in this set of 6 as Whitehouse gets to his feet to play the ball.
It's the transition of Cambridge from defence to attack that's the most important thing. When they've kicked that ball, their emphasis on that first 2 or 3 tackles, restricting the progress of Oxford. And just like they're doing here, working that player over, 3 men in the tackle, gaining 2, 3, 5, 6, 8 second play the balls.
The pass from Harold Buchanan, a Boltonian Buchanan, and eventually the ball reaches Batstone out there on the wing. Humphreys gets a hold of him but can't keep a grip on him, and Batstone, looking for some open field, has lost the ball, and Cambridge will have it back.
0.
He made some yards, Batstone. Every time he gets the ball, he's so elusive.
Now there's hands on heads and players with
foot out, 17, come on.
Breath frosting in the air in back play. It's a chilly night here at the Stoop, and a penalty for a high tackle. Bradley, I think it was.
Number 10.
Anthony Bradley, there's the grapple tackle. His arms, you can see, goes round his head. That's not allowed in rugby league.
Brewster having his features rearranged there.
Okay.
Thought for a second that Cambridge were going to kick for 2. They seem to be motioning over to the sideline, but I think John Evans telling his players, keep the pressure on, they're going to buckle, they're going to break.
Hold, go.
Certainly Cambridge can't breathe easily yet. They need more points on the board if they are to win this Varsity match. They've been on the receiving end for the last 2 years. 38-10 last season, 20 points to 14 the year before. They're out for revenge tonight to the Light Blues. At the moment they're ahead, but only narrowly. Here is Paddy Hunt, and Hunt barges Harold Buchanan out of the way. Buchanan comes back to help in stopping Hunt. Right on the try line, Cambridge now. Slightly laboured play the ball. Matt Bray, 4 tackles gone. Right in front of those posts. Sykes. Wingate Saul pops the ball up. Ignacio Quintana takes the pass. The Spaniard plays it, and it's now with Wingate Saul, who'll just dab the kick in. Oh, and a knock on from O'Connor. That's all they wanted.
On the 10, guys, on the 10.
Another scrum, head and feed to Cambridge.
And this is where Cambridge are having a lot of joy, not with the high balls, but the short little balls on the floor. Paul O'Connor again making a mistake when that ball's bobbling and bouncing on the ground. But this Cambridge side, they've got numbers on the left-hand side, but they need to look up. The halfbacks, James Hunt and Wingate Saul, need to have a look up and see how tight the opposition winger, James Badstone's defending.
Cambridge scenting blood here. Schroeder taking on Batstone, but Batstone makes the tackle. Brewster with a darting run. 2 tackles gone. Bradley pinning him to the ground. Quentin McFarlane is there as well. Sherman works the runaround. Matt Bray, 3 tackles gone. Sykes, this time they get the ball wide. Sonnenfeld Oh, a ball outside to Joe Pitt-Rashid. Play on, says the referee. The ball went backwards. Joe Pitt-Rashid retrieves that pass, and the move is still alive for Cambridge.
Go.
Sykes, Wingate Saul now. Here is James Hunt. Hunt is quickly closed down, but Foster came out of his line quickly. But there was a shepherd, says referee Child.
Go behind your own man, obstruction.
And Freddie Humphries, I think, acted only unwittingly.
He's coming in for the short pass, the nice smart line at an acute angle. That's what Cambridge have been so good at. But the numbers that Cambridge have on that right-hand side, their left, Oxford's right, is a worry if you're Dan Garbutt.
Scrum down.
Oxford have failed to get the kick away.
Oh, it was Matt Stetchman.
It's a good job, Bill. 10 yards will do. When you're kicking for touch, 10 yards will do.
So Oxford get the ball back. Could have been very costly. Here's Hugh McCormick. He's got some strength as the Oxford loose forward. Up to the 40-metre line. Here's Bradley. Bradley driving forwards, not for very long. They're going for the big guys. Here's Paddy Boyle. They don't come much bigger than him.
Move. Hold. Go.
Paddy Boyle following in the footsteps of brother James, who also played in this fixture. That's forward, and anyway, Pete Forster couldn't take it. And the errors mounting up here. The tiredness, I think, is contributing to that.
And just a simple play, trying to catch the ball. He just didn't look at the ball, and he looked up at what was in front of him. Saw that Schroeder was there. He was coming in, looking to make that tackle, and just losing the ball. Oxford have got to start building some pressure. It would have been an easier set of 6 then to target the Cambridge big guys. As I said, a nice little neat kick and try and force the error in that next set.
Dan Garbutt, a pretty unhappy coach there, knows his side have squandered any number of opportunities. 14 handling errors from his Oxford side, which is double the handling errors made by the Cambridge team.
And I bet you the majority of them have been in this second half, and they always seem to be that when they get down and the opposition's 40, they come up with the error. And then it's not as though they're looking for the big play. They're looking for a play to get on the outside of Cambridge, but it's just not working. The guys aren't either expecting the ball or aware of the guy who's going to pass them the ball.
Matt Bray on the charge. 5th tackle. Needs to be a good kick from Rupert Wingate Saul. It ricochets, and Forster trying to pick it up. Oxford have it back.
I thought all the kick chase again, because of the depth of that kicker was in front. It'd have been interesting if one of the Cambridge players had picked it up. But I think this will do them good. Some speed in and around the ruck.
O'Connor plays the ball. Here's Pete Forster again, and Forster up that right-hand side for Oxford. Batstone hugging the touchline. Bradley charges into the Cambridge defence, but he's well tackled. 4 tackles gone. Short pass, that was forward to Smyburton. Again, the anguish from this Oxford side.
And again, they're in the right part of the pitch. A simple ball, a forward pass, putting themselves under all kinds of pressure. Smyburton there, they just seem to be getting down there. They're doing all the hard work to get there, but they're just not coming up with that last play.
First move.
McCormick quickly in to make the tackle on Rupert Wingate Saul. Here's Joe Pitt-Rashid. He's lost the ball, and another knock on, and Oxford will get it back.
Let's see what they do with it when they get it back now. Two in the tackle. Was the hand on the ball? But he's got to keep a tighter grip on the ball than that. The Oxford players going in, trying to wrap up the Cambridge player there. But this is going to be an important set of 6.
Here's Pete Forster, and Forster again away from the first, and the pass into touch behind Batstone. They've had so many efforts down that right-hand side. O'Connor tells Forster not to give up.
But Forster again, as soon as they get the ball, where do they head? They head to the sideline. They don't go forward. They're not making any direction going forward. They're trying to get the ball out wide to Batstone. They can't keep looking for that big play on tackle 1, 2 and 3.
Dan Garbutt down to the sidelines, I'm sure to send a message out via Tom Waterfield, last year's president, to get the message out there.
He'll be trying to send a message out to stop the rot. Once you make a mistake, sometimes you try to cover it up with something equally as risky or something even more risky. There are errors in these games that they're very much the order of the day, but both teams, they choose to play. There's a lot of significance on it from both sides, and if they lose all the games and win this one, they're happy enough.
Well, this time they have got it to Baxton, and he can't take the pass. Oh, dear me.
Dan Garbutt will be having absolute nightmares for the next couple of weeks. Paul O'Connor again going across the pitch, and you don't have to be a brain scientist to realise who they're trying to break free all the time.
I think there might well be a brain scientist out there somewhere. Just having a look, there's engineering, PPE, that's politics, philosophy and economics.
I can't see any brain surgery. I studied that as well.
PPE?
Yes, I did.
No, you were in PE and RE. Is it a brain scientist or a brain surgeon?
Well, there's a brain scientist as well that has to examine the brain before the surgeon goes in.
Be interesting to know what the message was from Dan Garbutt. Ben Pro might be able to enlighten us.
Terry speculated, Bill, that the Oxford coach would be having nightmares. He just come running down the stairs behind me, and the message was, stop overplaying. That's exactly what Oxford are doing, and he wants it cut out.
Is that 2?
So we'll see whether they do stop overplaying it.
That composure is what you lose when you start to look at the scoreboard, you start to look at the clock, you lose your composure and you force things.
Well, Cambridge are forcing it now. It's with Schroeder. Schroeder, the pass out wide, and he couldn't find his winger, Will Brewster. The ball is in touch, and that's the best opportunity in this second half for the Cambridge side.
Man down.
A better pass would have put the winger, Brewster, in.
About 11 or so.
He's trying to look one way and pass another. A very skillful pass if you can master it, but we have an injury on the pitch.
Time off, scrum down anyway.
I think it's Hugh McCormick, is it? There's a touch of cramp.
Yeah.
Not surprising. So a breather for these two sides. And they'll welcome this respite because the pace has been pretty furious. Just 12 minutes to go.
Both teams have given it their all. Dan Garbutt, though, will be saying that the Oxford boys have just come out of a huddle. They just need to get up the other end of the pitch, complete a set of 6. They don't have to look for that big play. There's 12 minutes left in this game, and if you look at all the wasted chances and the wasted field position that they've had, if they would have just controlled that play, get to the set of 6 and try and take some energy away from this Cambridge side, the game's not over. There's 6 points in it, there's 1 score, and there's 12 minutes to go.
Hugh McCormick can't continue. Danny O'Driscoll is going to return to the fray for Oxford, who trail here. 10 points to 4, Cambridge lead.
And Danny O'Driscoll there, who you can see on your screen, is not a bad player to bring on. He was big, he was strong, he was very agile in that first half, and he's probably a player they're going to need to look to try and get him that score and get him back in this game.
Perhaps the fact that they're concentrating on the score is taking away the focus. Don't worry about the scoreboard, don't worry about the time. Just work on knocking your sets out and build some pressure.
Forster across field. Pete Forster was recently picked for the South of England student squad, which was a big boost for him. Good defence from Cambridge to drive Charlie Rowe back. Rowe to his feet to play the ball. Quentin McFarlane. They go down the other side now and again can't take the ball, and Danny O'Driscoll puts that one down.
I've put the mockers on him. I built him up as soon as he come on. And it wasn't the best of passes, but it was an easy ball for Danny O'Driscoll to take there. But again, looking at playing wide, getting the ball, spreading the ball to the wing. And that's why Cambridge have been so good this afternoon. They've done the little basic things in and around the ruck in the middle 50 of the pitch, and they've took the energy away from this Oxford side.
Cambridge in possession. Stetchman plays the ball just on the Oxford 40-metre line. Here goes Brewster, sniping a little run from the winger.
Move, hold, go.
Now here's George Lang, looking very fresh and clean off the bench, the cleanest shirt out there. He'll have plenty of energy for the last 10 minutes here. Rupert Wingate-Saul finds Aaron Sonnenfeld, and Sonnenfeld back on the inside. They could be in here. They are in here. It's the try from the man from Malaga. Ignacio Quintana gets the try. And Cambridge celebrate what could be a crucial score in this close game. Arriba!
That of my mate Iggy, who I met last year, Ignacio Quintana. A good old try from him. He'll be happy with that. He wanted to score last year. He put his heart and soul into this game last year. They were on the wrong end of a defeat, but this time it looks like he's going to go on with that win. Just a clever little ball off Sonnenfeld. He's brought through his hand. Watch how he goes through the line. He hands one off. He goes through. He knows that Ignacio's following him on the inside. The Oxford players just couldn't ground him, and I think they've wrapped up the game there, Cambridge.
John Evans down on the field, and Iggy Quintana, second varsity match for him, and a crucial try. He's an engineering student who specialises in fractures, as in, well, you studied it with him, of course. You can explain.
Yes, I actually went down, spent some time in the science labs with him, and I had to put him right on a couple of things as well. And I had to talk him through about how to work out formulas and Pythagoras and, you know, things like that.
Pie, that word pie again.
Yes, pie and cakes. But I'm sure Iggy's okay now.
Hunter's converted that try from Quintana, and applause from Hunt and from the Cambridge side. They lead by 16 points to 4.
I think that try from Cambridge came about by Oxford's errors and Oxford's lack of composure again. They're trying to score away from their own line. They're trying to get from the 20-metre line all the way to score the try, when all they have to do is a couple of low-risk play, kick the ball down and make this Cambridge side work away from their own line.
So Oxford now have a mountain to climb in the last 8 minutes here, and there will be, by the look of things, no 3 in a row for this Oxford side. They have never managed to win 3 in a row in the history of the Rugby League varsity match. Cambridge have done it before, Oxford haven't. They were intent on doing it tonight. It doesn't look as though it's going to happen.
Bill, they'll look back on this game, Oxford, and in their game of rugby league, you've got to control the ball. You've got to have the possession. They've given a penalty away now, which again they've got to do another set of 6, and this is where it's really hurt them. By the lost possession that they've got, the penalties that they've given away, and all they seem to have been doing is trying to defend and stop the Cambridge players, big guys, from coming forward.
So the penalty pushes Oxford deeper into their own half, and can Cambridge really put this one to bed now? Another try surely, and they can think of celebrating, although James Hunt won't be celebrating with that exam first thing. 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, the poor guy's got an exam. Here's Shearman, he deserves a try. He's tackled just short, 10 metres short. Sykes now, Sykes breaks free from the first tackle. Iggy is in for a second, is he? No, he's held just short of the try line. And driven back, in fact, by the Oxford defence. Working hard, Oxford, right to the end. Rupert Wingate-Saul puts his foot down, thought he saw a gap there, but Oxford managed to close the door. Forster in with the tackle. He's very slowly to his feet, is the Cambridge number 7. Hunt stabs the kick in. Play on, says the referee. Oxford have it back. First knock on, he says.
Scrum down, Cambridge.
And it's a Cambridge head and feed at the scrum.
More pressure on this Oxford side. A lovely kick again. I think it's Quentin McFarlane, the hooker, the replacement hooker, who makes a stab at that ball. The referee judges it a knock-on, and more pressure on Oxford. And you mentioned it at half-time, Phil. People criticise this fixture and ask why we do it. These will be the future masters of empire. These will be the people that are in charge of big organisations, big company. And through their experience of this varsity match, hopefully they'll come back, pump some money into our game and get involved financially.
Here's Rupert Wingate-Saul, James Hunt now, Schroeder on the crash ball. It was a forward pass. You talk about that, interestingly, in the pre-match meal, which was attended by 300 people. A lot of people who work in the city there, they need something to cheer them up at the moment. But A.D. Spencer was working the room, just recruited as London Business Development Manager by the RFL, and that's a very astute move. Former Cambridge University student, played in 4 varsity matches. Just the sort of man you need, just to work on those contacts.
To spread the gospel of rugby league. Eddie Spencer was always a guy that was renowned with this sport. He signed and he played at the old London Broncos, the Harlequins club now as it's known, and he was really a player who made a name for himself in this game, and I'm sure there's guys out there who can really make a name for himself. Definitely Sherman. I think he's been exceptional tonight.
Oxford hoping to redeem something in the last 5 minutes here, but their winning sequence is coming to an end as McFarlane puts the kick in. Max Stetchman is underneath it, and Stetchman will run it back. Well, was that a voluntary tackle? He went onto his knees. Well, Cambridge winning this varsity match. There is another varsity match coming up at the end of this month at the Willows, in actual fact, and that should be quite a tasty affair, because Salford University will be taking on Manchester University in the Royal Navy Two Cities Challenge, the inaugural Royal Navy Two Cities Challenge. Those two universities from the northwest going head to head. That's on March the 24th at the Willows, and that promises to be a big event. Shearman right up the middle, the pass to nobody. What a tragedy that was. Play on says that back to one. There was a hand in there.
It come off
Oxford.
the back of
Baxton knocked it on. Bray has knocked it on. And
scrum down Oxford.
Oxford get head and feed, but they really are finishing hotly.
James Sherman has had an outstanding game. So has Matt Bray, just in the screen, the captain for Cambridge, but he makes a lovely break. Prop forwards don't always know what to do when they break, but he tries to look for support. It hits Batstone on the back of the head. Thus, Cambridge get the ball back. That's a great shot from the Oxford defence.
Move! Hold, go.
Well, Baxton there, he thought, well, it looked as though it was business as usual when he got that early try for Oxford. And a lot of people favoured Oxford here tonight, but Cambridge have been a lot tighter. They've had a lot of players back from last year, 11 survivors from last year's defeat, and that surely has helped their cause.
Leave it to me.
They were hurt last year. John Evans said last year that they've got to learn from the mistakes, and they've definitely learned from the mistakes tonight. The kicking game has been exceptional. But if there's any time now that this Oxford side need to throw the ball around, it's in this last 3 minutes. The game's beyond them, and this is the only time really. The pressure's on now. They've got to come up with a result. The result's gone, but I'm sure they'd like to go away with a try.
Well, they're not going to at that rate. Phil Satterthwaite just managing to keep the ball. No, he hasn't. It's been snaffled by Cambridge again. Picked up by Aaron Sonnenfeld, and Sonnenfeld is probably the most recent recruit from Rugby Union to this Cambridge side, and he's got better as the evening has gone on, the centre.
First, move, hold.
Joe Pitt-Rashid plays the ball. Here is Matt Bray.
Second, move.
Bray, whose try got Cambridge back into this game in the first half. Sonnenfeld, the ball out wide to Joe Pitt-Rashid, and that try will wrap it up for Cambridge. Another of the newcomers to the squad, Joe Pitt-Rashid, gets the Cambridge Cougars cheering and the pom-poms flying, and Cambridge can celebrate a varsity match victory. Sewn up by that try by Joe Pitt-Rashid, the little number 14 who's come on and got on the end of that move.
He's looked wiry when he's come on. This has just all come about from field position and possession. They've got numbers out wide. All he does, Joe Pitt-Rashid, he just hugs his touchline. He knows that the ball's going to come. They're outnumbered, the Oxford defence, and that's an easy try for him, and a happy try. The Cambridge side, Bill, you mentioned it. John Evans there, very happy. He was disappointed last year, but he's got the result tonight.
And that try handed on a plate to Joe Pitt-Rashid by Aaron Sonnenfeld, the centre. And Hunt to really rub salt in the Oxford wounds with this one. And an immaculate goal-kicking performance from James Hunt. He'll be hoping that his exam performance tomorrow morning is as good. 100% so far from the boot of Hunt, but this is probably the trickiest kick he's faced, way out wide, and he's missed that one.
I hope he doesn't celebrate too long tonight, Bill.
He's not allowed to. He's the one Cambridge player who allegedly will not be celebrating, and the coach still not happy. Well, He must be happy.
He's got to be happy. It's been a real disciplined performance by Cambridge as well. They've showed great vision the way they played the game. The kicking game's been exceptional, and the players have just really turned up for each other.
Well, they are, as we've mentioned, they're on a roll. They've only lost one game in their division in the Student Rugby League this season, and they also went into this game on the back of a 24-20 win over Harlequins under-18s. Now that's no mean feat. They must be doing something right.
No, it isn't. The Harlequins under-18s are a very, very tough outfit. They coach very well under the astute guidance of Brian McDermott, but Cambridge have got that result.
The whistle blows and Cambridge celebrates. Martin Woodcock, another former Cambridge pupil, and there is James Sherman, and what a night it has been for this young man. Dedicated to the memory of his father gravely ill, and James Sherman determined to play in the game and determined to win it for his dad, and he has done just that. And now the emotions are pouring out, and the emotions will be felt among that Cambridge side. It means so much to them to win this varsity match, and they are justifiable winners.
James Sherman has done his dad so proud, and you can see the devastation on the Oxford players. But there you go, that's what you get from hard work. They've bounced back from a year of getting defeated. They got absolutely annihilated last year when they played here. I think it was 38 points to 10. But what a fantastic result to turn it around and only lose one game this year under the astute guidance of John Evans. But they'll be happy. They'll be happy tonight, Bill.
And Oxford, by contrast, a disconsolate bunch. But there is the winning coach, John Evans. Well, a draw in the cake competition, we decided, but certainly as far as the matters on the pitch, Cambridge winning that one. And no doubt about the man of the match in the eyes of Barry and Terry. They went for James Sherman, and we can now hear from him. He's with Ben.
James, a hugely emotional moment for you, a great victory, but I know that your father is gravely ill. He was desperate for you to play tonight.
Yeah, he was, and this one's for you, Dad. I'm so
to reflect on this. Cambridge coach for an awful long time, 2 defeats in 2008, 2007. How sweet is this victory?
Oh yeah, I mean I'm a bit choked up because we've had a lot going on with James and a lot of other distractions as well, and they've been playing for 5 months. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there in rugby league land who think these guys just turn up and play 1 game a year. These guys have played 16 games of rugby league, including today. They played in France. We were in Australia this summer. The 6 of those blokes toured Australia, played against New South Wales students and Queensland students. We put a lot into rugby league at Cambridge University, as do Oxford. So I'm really pleased with what we did. I thought we'd win. I knew we had the ability, but what an ugly game of rugby league. I mean, that was a knock-on-a-thon. I must apologise to the viewers because there was no cohesion to it. Ultimately, we were at the right part of the field at the right time, and we scored tries, and I think our energy levels were better at the end.
We've seen some varsity matches with entertainment and flair over the years on Sky Sports, but that really was a case of grinding one out, wasn't it?
And we spoke about that because we won our division in Booster against Notts Trent University 12-0, and we ground it out, and we scored penalties, and there's only 1 try scored, so we knew we could do that. We knew we could come from behind. We'd played Harlequins under 18s a couple of weeks ago and came behind from 16-6 to win, so we knew we could win games. It's just on the night that sometimes it can get on top of players. But it is a very emotional night, Ben, especially what's happening with James, so I'll bid you good night, mate.
Thanks very much, John. Matt, more reaction to a great performance from Cambridge. Oxford, on paper, the stronger side. A lot of confidence before the game. How much of this is an upset?
Well, we knew it was going to be a tough game, and they always have a spurt late on. They brought in some guys have come to the forefront recently, so we knew we had some bigger units to deal with. And they're obviously going to improve in the last couple of weeks because they're training a lot and all the rest of it. But we've been ready for this for a month at least, and there's only one of our guys that hasn't been with us since October last year, and in student rugby that's a long time to gel as a squad, and like that showed tonight, the experience just came through, I think.
And the confidence as well, because of course you've only lost 1 in your divisional campaign this year, champions as well. How much did that boost the team going into today's match, which of course is the big one?
Yeah, exactly. We knew we've faced all sorts of scenarios. I mean, we've come from behind before. We came from behind against Harlequins Junior Academy. We knew we can do it, so we've stood behind the sticks and known that we've had to step it up a notch, and that's what we did tonight.
Thanks very much, well done.
Thanks a lot.
So delight for the Cambridge side. Oxford, though, picking up their losers' medals. Well, they've enjoyed it for the last 2 years, back-to-back wins for them. Kevin Nicholas, their president of the RFL, handing those losers' medals over. Oxford, as I said, have won it for the last 2 years, and they were desperate to make it 3 in a row. They really were, and they were convinced that they could do that, but not to be tonight, because this Cambridge side have denied them that. And James Shearman earns his man of the match prize there, a well-earned award for him, for the former Arnold School in Blackpool pupil, and so they'll be delighted there at Arnold School. And that's KJ Lee Trophy, donated by the father of a former Varsity match player, waiting there to be awarded to the Cambridge side. Meanwhile, they get their winners' medals, and Kevin Nicholas, alongside him Carl Williams from P Cubed, and you can just see in the corner of the shot there David Oxley, I think that is, just there we go, that's David Oxley, the chairman of the Student Rugby League. There he is at the end of the line, David Oxley, a great supporter of Student Rugby League, great supporter of the game, of course, David Oxley, and here tonight as ever to join in the medal ceremony. And I know that Maurice Olroyd, another great supporter of the Varsity matches here as well, hasn't missed a Varsity match in all the 29 years it's been played, and neither is Jock McConnell, the man from New Zealand who was one of the instigators of the Varsity match. The pair of them are here as well. And now Matt Bray gets his medal, and he will lift the KJ Lee Trophy. Carl Williams presents it to him, and celebrations for Cambridge University, winners of the 2009 Varsity match, the 29th Varsity match. And Cambridge extend their lead in the competition. They have now won the Varsity match 16 times, and Oxford have won 12. There's been the one draw, that was in 1995, a 20-all draw, but well, for a moment there probably was a possibility of a draw tonight. 10-4 it was for a long time, Oxford pressing, and there was just the suspicion that we might be heading for a draw, but then Cambridge eventually getting away with it and running out convincing winners, and there they are. Well, there'll be big celebrations tonight, apart from poor old James Hunt, and there's Hunt getting his hands on the trophy, and he'll be early in bed tonight, that exam at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. But Oxford, meanwhile, imagine a disconsolate bunch. Their winning sequence has come to an end. I think now we can hear from their coach, Dan Garbett.
Dan, as Cambridge celebrate in the background, what went wrong tonight?
I just think there's a lot of errors really. I think they played the basics better than we did. They actually worked a bit harder than we did in terms of hitting in behind the rock, and they just sort of made easy ground through there. And I just think, I think a bit disappointing really. I think the lads could have played a bit better. They know it, but all credit to Cambridge. They were fantastic, absolutely brilliant. They worked really hard, they tackled hard, and we didn't get a lot of chances, but they gave us the chance. They made their errors, and we didn't capitalise on it. I think that was the biggest issue.
And the chance to make 3 in a row for the first time goes away as well. But you did have a lot of possession.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It wasn't like we totally didn't have any ball. I just think that when we made errors at the wrong times, and we weren't as composed as they were. I think they had a bit more composure. They're a bit better, looking after the ball and actually respecting it a little bit more. And these things happen. But I mean, the lads will bounce back. They'll come back from it. And you like to say, I think it really needs to be credit to them. They actually outplayed us, I think, and that needs to be made. The point made. It's not a case of us sort of missing out or us making errors too much. It's really them. They played well and they did the basics well, and as John's sides always do, and that was just how it happened really.
Thanks very much, Dan. Thanks for talking to us.
Ben, cheers, thanks.
Dan Garbett accepting defeat gratefully, and there's confirmation of that 20 points to 4 scoreline. Oxford with the try from Batstone early on, getting them off to a great start, but Cambridge really came back strongly, took control of the game. 10-4 for a long time, but then those tries from Quintana and Pit Rashid easing Cambridge to victory. James Hunt's boot contributing as well. 4 from 5 he kicked, and Cambridge winners by 20 points to 4. Well, we saw in the presentation ceremony the chairman of the Student Rugby League, David Oxley, and we can hear from him now. He's with Ben.
David, as a witness to every one of these varsity matches, how did the 2009 vintage compare?
I think it rated very highly. We've always had tremendous physical context and tremendous courage and commitment, but I think there was a high quality football, particularly in the first half tonight. Got a bit tired in the second because they take so much out of each other. But I thought technically it's a real game of mature rugby league now, and that was ranked as one of the best. The first 40 especially.
And with your experience of Oxbridge, how important are these varsity matches?